Hey everyone, and welcome to A Plus Productions, A Plus Wrestling here on this beautiful Memorial Day Monday for our USA listeners, and just a regular Monday for everyone else. We're your hosts, I'm Boris, and on this week's episode, we're going to be chatting all things this past weekend from the land of the World Wrestling Entertainment. We're going to be talking some NXT Battleground and some Saturday night's main event, and joining me to do that is my geek partner in crime, none other than Daxavier, Josiah. Dax, how's it going?
I'm doing fine. Hope everybody's having a really pleasant, peaceful Memorial Day. Much respect to all the people in the military, past, present, and future. And hopes that we can make a better place for everybody.
That's all.
And protect everybody as much as possible.
That's all you can ask at this point in time. All right, Dax, before we get to wrestling, you know that we have to talk. It's been a little while since we've geeked out. I think the last time I talked to you was right before Thunderbolts came out.
Yeah, we never did talk about that.
We never did. Not even in our chats or anything. It's like we avoided.
Not even the last episode that I was on. What the hell? Because I think the Thunderbolts came out. We did that episode after the Thunderbolts, I think.
The last episode that you were on was what? The last AEW pay-per-view, so late April.
Dynasty. Yeah, okay, I guess.
I think it was the week. I think it was that week. Anyways, point is.
Yeah.
Couple things there is I didn't even watch the movie until this past weekend.
Oh, wow.
Right?
Good thing Marvel Studios didn't rely on your ass.
What did you think of the movie?
I enjoyed it. It was a lot of fun. It was like a lighter version of Guardians of the Galaxy in a lot of ways, but I loved what they did with that show, with that movie. I got one issue, and I think that's an issue that everybody had with the deal. But it didn't take away from the whole thing. But I love the actual message because if you didn't realize it, but May is Mental Health Awareness Month, and a lot of the theme of that movie was about mental health and redemption and all that stuff and everything. I thought it was well played and well timed on Marvel Studios part to do that. But also, if you're a comic book fan, and there's a difference between Marvel comic fans and Marvel cinematic fans. There is a absolute difference between that. And if you're a Marvel comic, and it's not to say that one can't enjoy it, either or can't enjoy it, but I think as a Marvel comic fan, you will be rewarded for reading those comic books when you find some Easter eggs and all the stuff in there from the actual source comics. For instance, you ever read Nomad?
Yeah, I did.
About Bucky's Nomad book. Yep. If you didn't notice that scene when they were in the desert and and they were doing a car chase in the limo scene, Bucky was rocking the Nomad gear.
Yes,
he had the glasses. He had the belt with the extra packages or whatever like that in there, and he was rocking. He even had the garter leg in the bottom from it. Yep. Immediately hit me to Nomad. I was like, yo, that's dope. So we got to see a little bit of that, but we got to see other things. My only gripe was they killed off Taskmaster
right away. Like it was
minutes.
Nothing.
Yo, again, as a comic book fan, if y'all don't know who Taskmaster really is, that dude is no joke in the comics. And while people were upset, they were also speculating this is the multiverse saga, so there's a possibility that we may see another Taskmaster. It's a possibility. I will say that. I don't know if we will. If we do, it'd be dope. But I was just a little bit upset. We didn't even get a chance to see this person in motion.
Yep. Yeah, it was weird. It was very weird. I enjoyed it overall. Couple gripes coming from a storytelling, but from a wrestling point of view, it's very interesting how they kind of especially as the movie wound down and they were introduced as the new Avengers, kind of them being
that's hilarious.
Yeah, I know. The way it happened was great too. Very smart.
The marketing after the post marketing
that was great.
Of that is tremendous.
Yep, they did a great job at that. Yeah, and I like the fact, especially the post credit scenes, how they're kind of taken as a joke, and no one takes them serious. But at the same time, they kind of went back and forth a little bit, because it's like you don't completely. They kind of broke the fourth wall in a sense, because you don't completely want to shit on this new team, because it's literally what we are saying as the MCU fans, right?
Mm-hmm.
You don't want us to not take this new team serious, or else there's nothing going to be at stake moving into Avengers Judgment Day or whatever, Doomsday, right?
Yeah.
That's my one thing. They have to be very careful how they continue this market.
That was my takeaway from that is a slightly different. It's like, I think this is going to lead to them actually owning the name Thunderbolts.
Yes.
And take the asterisk off, because that was the other thing. The team was, that we found out what that meant, what the Thunderbolts was from.
Yeah.
Elena's soccer team that never won game a day in their life. And now this is like parallel to that team, but now they're going to own the fact that they're the losers of the bunch, and they're going to own that and start to be the winners of that. And I think this is going to come full circle. So I think what I do trust about Marvel Studios is they do follow up on things, no matter how long it takes to do it. They do eventually follow up on things. So I expect us to see that very soon. Same thing with Daredevil Born Again, when they did the Kamala thing. I see some payoffs coming.
Yeah,
and people going to forget all about it, and then when it comes, it's like, oh.
Yeah, MCU does do a good job for payoffs for the most part. They do a very good job.
Their batting average is like, what is the highest batting average you can have?
1,000.
Okay. I would say they're 998 to 2.
Yeah, probably.
On a batting average, because if you take away the Inhumans and take away the Eternals, everything else was pretty much good to great to awesome. So, I mean, I don't want to put too much weight on the crap that they actually did mess up on, because it wasn't much.
No.
I did an episode on my show. Yeah. I did an episode on my show where I actually accumulated. I actually did use my Excel sheet grading score to grade this first half of the multiverse saga. Turns out I actually liked most of it, and I ended up giving it like an A-, like legit. The numbers didn't lie. I was like, I felt like it wasn't as good, but I'm like looking back one by one, not just the movies, but also the TV shows, the animated shows that are all connected to the multiverse saga. And it turns out it's like, yo, this got an A-. That's a great score.
Yeah, considering that they had to make major shifts in storytelling after the Jonathan Majors stuff, right?
I mean, in good look. Regardless, that plus reshoots of things, and I'm like, people think just because they do reshoots and write and narrative changes that is going to ruin the whole thing. People, this is a norm in Hollywood. They always rewrite. They always name change. It's just because it's like back in the day, like when I went to high school, we used to get into fights and all this stuff, and we used to do get into all these hijinks and all this stuff. But now in this day and age, it's more visible because we have YouTube and everybody's being able to see it on, film and all this stuff. This stuff is normal. It's just now it's more in the know. It's in the zeitgeist now.
Exactly. Like even right now, the entire Boys cast is back in town here in Toronto doing reshoots for the final season.
Oh God, I can't wait to that. I cannot wait for that show.
It's funny because I see them sometimes when I'm out and about, like in certain restaurants, and certain on certain parts of the city, because I have a feeling that that's where some of them live. But it just that's where so happens to be like where one of my friends live, and when her and I are out, we often see Starlight, Aaron Moriarty, and yeah. Jack Quaid. I've actually had a quick conversation with him. He's a really cool, nerdy motherfucker.
Awesome.
He reminds me of Michael Cera a lot.
Oh wow, that's a comparison. That is a definite geek comparison. Like you compared him to Scott Pilgrim.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. But yeah, so that's the MCU. Things are looking very interesting there. What's the next release for the MCU?
Oh, it's Fantastic Four.
Fuck.
July.
Yeah.
Oh no. Wait, movie wise is Fantastic Four. June is going to be Ironheart. I cannot wait for that.
Oh, that's going to be good. We should review that.
Dude, Ryan Coogler's feet are, hands and feet are all up in this thing. So like, I got nothing but hype for this.
Yeah. Speaking of which, did you watch his movie Sinners? Ryan Coogler's Sinners?
I normally am not a fan of horror type stuff, but when you had a genius like him on there, and you got like people like Jordan Peele, who's like this generation's Hitchcock doing stuff like that, I not only got to support my people, I also got to like really trust, because there's always something behind what they do with that. It's not normally, it's like Walking Dead. It's like Robert Kirkman, when he does The Walking Dead, it's like, it's not about, scaring you or anything. It's about, it's a social. Yes, exactly. And Sinners had that kick to it too. I thought it was beautiful. I thought what Ryan did with that was just amazing.
Honestly, the people who didn't like it, typically
it was a vocal minority of people,
and they're typically the people who can't follow a full story because of this low attention society, right?
We live in a short attention society, right? That also, that's one group. There's another group who just wants to tear down everything. And when you have groups like that, you also have to really look deeper into those groups. And I tell people all the time, I just told some dude on Threads, I'm like, y'all need to stop feeding these folks.
Yeah. Exactly.
Y'all need to stop feeding hate. You feeding the hate like that. Y'all need to starve that hate, because you got to realize what's behind it. And a lot of times it's people displacing their anger. It's people frustrated with what's going on in their world, and they resent happiness. Happy people don't troll. Happy people don't go online and try to make other people feel bad. So when you look at it in a different perspective, you got to approach them like, I hope everything's all right in your world.
Yep.
Because when you kill it with kindness, I'm not joking. That's not even a joke. If you kill it with kindness, they're going to flee. Or they're going to react differently to it.
Watching Sinners, all I could think was, why isn't Kevin Feige tapping Ryan Coogler for Blade?
How about that?
Right?
I mean, not to say that I agree.
Not because of the vampire stuff, but because we're used to seeing
just the way his mind works.
Yes.
I agree with that also, but also at the same time, I want to see more people get their chance. Like, we can't cap him for every single thing that is being done. We
can't pull up Russo brothers, right? Like,
and I ain't mad at the Russo brothers. No. Let them keep working on Avengers. Let them do what they do right. But at the same time, it's like, Marvel has doing the same thing that they do on the comic book front, hopefully paying them better in a sense. But, making sure that like everybody gets a chance to get their hands on the creative side of things and giving opportunities to that. And there's been some really creative people that are really down for bringing the panels to life. So, let's keep on seeing those. I mean, I agree with you on a standpoint. Like, yeah, if he's doing this good, you want to keep that money going. You want to keep that, the quality going, but you got to start giving people a chance. If you see some, potential people, and Ryan also may be riding on trying to give people, opportunities as well. So, it might not be just that. Plus, he got his own things going on too.
Yeah. I wonder if he's going to do the next Creed movie.
He didn't do the last one.
No,
he executive produced the last one. He didn't direct it. But with that said, that I still love the third one too. That was a great Clubber Lang version of that show. I'm still wondering if when is Jonathan Majors coming back? Because I think it's only a matter of time. I think they're waiting it out. I think if people really pay attention to what happened to him and what he went through and all this stuff, and what he's not doing now, which is you don't hear anything about Jonathan Majors. Last thing you heard was that he's working with Charlemagne the God on a movie right now, in a production company. But other than that, this dude has been off the radar. He has not been, he
has to be.
He's not been.
If he wants to make a Robert Downey Jr. comeback, which I think he will,
exactly.
This is the thing. He's going to do it, and he's being very quiet. And then boom,
as he should. as he should.
You know what? You know what I appreciate about him and why I respect him? You know, a lot of people, when they, for lack of a better term, when they get vindicated, they like, see, I told you. No, he shut the fuck up, and he's taking his W in silence.
Yeah, yeah, and he knows it, and I mean, I've been watching him since the incident. I've been following the court cases. I know exactly what he was evicted of, or convicted of, I should say, and what he wasn't. So, you know, you got people who are going to online to, you know, one-dimensional minded people who are going to say stupid things and not really know what the hell they're talking about. Like, no, he didn't really do what everybody thinks he did, but he got convicted for other things. So he, like I said, he's keeping it cool. He has Megan Good of all people on his side, and if I'm with Megan Good, I'm going to be good.
I love it.
I would be great. Okay.
Real quick. So we talked up MCU, and I think the next duo review that you and I are going to do is happening also in July, and it's the big kickoff. The big kickoff, the new DC universe.
Well, technically, it already kicked off with Creature Commando.
Yeah,
that was the first. That was the first entry into the new, you know, DC Studios universe at this point. But that Superman is looking so promising right now. Do you follow James Gunn?
Yeah.
Did you see the recent post that he did with the dog, the rescue dog that he had?
Yes.
The rescue dog that they modeled Crypto on?
Yes. Dude, I love that.
For those who didn't see it, you go please, if you're a dog parent, this movie is gonna it is the demographic is gonna be dog lovers of all ages for this, because Crypto, I think, is gonna be the real star in this. For those who don't,
you and I talked about this. Like we said, it's kind of like Grogu. He's going to be the next Grogu.
Yeah, exactly. And that's where James really does good. For those who didn't watch, go to James Gunn's account. There's a post that he just made where, like, his dog, where he modeled Crypto on, and they look exactly like, except his actual rescue dog is black fur, whereas Crypto is white. And there's the scene when, you know, he's jumping around, you know, Superman during in the Himalayas or whatever, or the Antarctic, wherever the hell the Fortress of Solitude is at, and he's jumping on Superman and playing with it. His dog is watching it on their theater screen, and he's doing exactly the same jumping motions and barking, just like Crypto. It's amazing. Like, I'm like, this dog is going to be a star.
Crypto. Oh, I can't wait, dude. I cannot wait. Like, I want to jump ahead of people. Buy some of those toys, because you know it's going to be fucking impossible. I just want a plush already. Like, I'm already sold.
Yeah. Crypto is going to be a household name. Like, I think it's not even just Superman that people are going to be excited for it. The whole Crypto thing, because again, like you said, like, James Gunn is great doing making mascots, and I can't wait, man. And the premise of the trailer too, really going in a place that we've never seen before with Superman on the silver screen. So I'm looking forward to how that's going to play too. The cast is just fantastic. You know, Lois Lane played by Miss Maisel. So I'm already excited about that too. And it's just incredible. And Peacemaker right after that, oh, by the way, here's the other thing too, is that why I mentioned Creature Commando, because, you know, there is the big connection to all of these movies. He's in Creature Commando, he's in Superman, and he's going to be in Peacemaker. Like, he's going to be main plot to all three of these, you know, different, you know, projects. And Frank Grillo is just, I cannot wait to see this whole thing pull off. Have you seen the new clips from Peacemaker?
No, not yet.
Oh, go check it out. They're fighting. It looks like they're fighting Gorilla Grodd, and they're having a hard time. And they put the 13th Street crew versus one gorilla, and they're getting their asses handed to them. It is hilarious.
I can't wait.
And the gorilla talks, so everybody's believing that it's Gorilla Grodd to their face.
Yeah, I can see that. Grodd. That's a great villain. They did a good job with him on the Flash TV show.
Oh, man. Yeah, did they ever?
How are you going to keep Cena heel when Peacemaker comes out?
That is a great question. It's August, and when is SummerSlam?
Early August.
Early August. Damn, that's
Clash
right about the time when Peacemaker comes out.
Clash in Paris is late August. SummerSlam is early August.
Man, you're right. I don't know. I mean, he's technically not a heel right now for people, even though he's a heel.
Yeah, it's kind of weird because this is like the most weird non-kayfabe heel we've ever seen. It's like we all accept him as a bad guy in the WWE ring, but everyone loves him right now.
But wasn't that the case though? Like when he was Thuganomics, people were cheering him too, and he was cheered back then. And then when Vince put a handle on him and tried to make him G.I. Joe, people all of a sudden hated on him because they knew what he was doing.
Yeah, exactly. So we're going to be talking some Superman on your show. That's going to happen later this summer, and we'll find other projects to talk about. But right now, we are talking some wrestling. Man, what a busy weekend for wrestling. Man, it's just too much. Like I said on Friday's preview shows, it's like this is the thing, right? There's just so much amazing wrestling on. Even TNA's show on Friday night was great. Under Siege in Brampton, Ontario, Canada. Yeah. It was a really, really good show. Like, there's just so much. There's too much happening.
Too much of a good.
Yeah, absolutely. Too much of a good thing. But we were very busy this weekend with some WWE. Saturday night's main event happened, obviously, Saturday night. The NXT Battleground happened on Sunday night at the same time as AEW's Double or Nothing. We're going to be getting a review show, most likely for that a little later. But I wanted to focus on some WWE right now. So let's start with Saturday night's main event. Dax, you and I talked about this in the past, and I'm pretty sure that at some point we covered the Battle of the Belts together. Just seems like forever ago. Do you feel that Saturday night's main event is still this big thing, or do you kind of feel that it's going the way of Battle of the Belts? And I think that's an unfair comparison. No. I don't either.
No, because WWE created that atmosphere. They created that, that spectacle. So they know what they're doing. Battle of the Belts wasn't even like, it wasn't even like the night of what was the NWA version of that? What did they call that back in the day?
Clash of Champions.
Wasn't it like say it again?
Clash of Champions. Yes,
it wasn't even like class. It's more Clash of Champions, which it started to be a big thing, and then it just feathered out. Saturday night's main event really does feel like a main event on primetime television. They really gave it that spectacular feel, that high production value. And they managed to maintain the essence of the old school feel, the entrances and all this stuff. I love the way that the entrances is, but they still made it like a modern day version of it. And the match card was really almost pay-per-view level. So
now, here's my next question. My follow-up to this is, do you feel that Saturday night's main event is taking heat or luster or I don't know what away from PLEs? Because in just 2 weeks, we have Money in the Bank.
Nah, because they don't have it much. It is on a different platform, and it is on a different channel on a network, on a primetime network. It does a little bit different, and it's not as long as the PLEs. So it's a nice little special, but it doesn't take anything away from it, especially when they don't have matches that is going to take away from, the pay-per-view, the PLEs, if you will. So if they don't overdo the Saturday night's main events, which doesn't happen as often on a yearly basis, it should be fine.
Yeah, I agree. I just think that sometimes the timing is a little weird, and it's just it's like they're trying to do a lot sometimes, but it is WWE.
Yeah.
And I get it. Look, I get it. I absolutely get it. All right, let us jump.
You mean when you say a lot? Do you mean like schedule a WrestleMania to be in one place and to totally rip it away?
Oh my God, that's a whole other conversation that we're going to have later.
A whole nother conversation. I'm sure you're going to cover.
It's so weird because I heard rumblings about it like a day or two before.
Yeah,
it's insane. Chats that I'm in, and then hearing the different locations, right? It's
You know what's funny? How many of y'all thought it was Saudi? Because I thought it was Saudi.
Honestly,
I thought it was Saudi the minute that this happened.
Oh my god! Oh my god! Royal Rumble's already there. Like that's.
I feel like, you know what's funny? Real quick, and I know we're going off subject, fine. But I feel like if they take WrestleMania, it's something patriotic about WrestleMania. And I know it's been in Canada and all this stuff. And I know Canada's the 51st. No, I'm stop. No. Let me stop playing. But no, I know it's been in Canada and I know it's been in other places before, but like, I'm sorry, that's something unpatriotic about going there.
Right?
With WrestleMania.
Yeah, WrestleMania. It's really become, it's already been a spectacle, but it's getting to Super Bowl levels of just insane, huge.
It already has. It's already there.
I know it already. Yeah. But you know what's cool though? Here in Canada and other places, because WWE is on Netflix, dude, the amount of people now randomly watching WWE and
around the world.
Everyone has to tell me that they're watching wrestling. Like I'll get random texts, or when I'm out with a group of people, a chick will say, "I'm watching wrestling now," and I love it. I didn't know it was like this. It's like just it's achieving exactly what they wanted. It is huge right now. It is huge right now.
I mean, but that's the one thing I did admire about WWFE forever is their marketing. I really paid attention to how they market and promote things, and they do a phenomenal job of doing so. They know how to put on a proverbial mask to hide certain things that they don't want people to see, and they know how to make things look spectacular to the mind. And I know the demographic and the type of people that they attract. You know, some of the group of people that they attract have a certain level of naivete that will just gloss over the minute they see some sparkling lights.
Yep.
Other people, you gotta bring in a little bit more to bring them in, but they know they have the means and they have the knowledge and they have the abilities and talents to do it. And I've always admired that part.
Yep. All right, let us jump to Saturday night's main event show start. I love the look and feel of this show. Like I said, you talk about that classic look. I just love how colorful everything is. It just screams 80s, and I love that look.
Well, but it's 80s with a modern day, look to aesthetic to it, because we have HD 80s
now. Of what someone that wasn't born in the 80s thinks the 80s look like.
Yeah, exactly. But now it's in 4K.
Exactly. 4K cocaine for everyone.
Exactly.
All right. Seth Rollins and Braun Breaker with Paul Heyman versus CM Punk and Sami Zayn. Love the Punk and Zayn get up. Very good match. I honestly thought, we talked about this on the preview show with Yorkie. We thought that it was going to be Zayn turning heel, but no. The third member was Bronson Reed, coming back from a nasty injury since War Games. Yeah. What a reintroduction to Bronson Reed.
That whole match was awesome. I mean, from start to finish, the crowd reacting to Punk was just insane. Like, there's no denying that dude's going to the Hall of Fame. It's like, there's no denying. Y'all can try to, like, once he retired, you know how people like, we all love something when it's out, and then like 5 years later, some people want to just all of a sudden be contrarian, and all of a sudden, like, wasn't that great?
Bret Hart's legacy is a perfect example of this.
Exactly. Like, what? No, this dude, he's definitely Hall of Fame level, but like all of the entrances, the action, it just played so well. And then Bronson Reed's surprise return and now affiliation with this group is just it was a great way to start this show.
I also love, and I'm sure that we're going to see this on Raw, because I saw some people not on our board. Again, thanks to everyone for leaving comments and stuff. It's really cool that people can be somewhat civil. But I've seen comments saying, didn't Seth Rollins and Bronson Reed have a major clash? Yes, that's why this is a huge shock. And I'm sure that we will get explanations tonight.
Right, exactly.
Like, people
again,
don't let
short attention society.
Out. Yeah.
Yeah. Again, short attention society once again. Like, that's the case. But these things, look, this is not the first time budding rivalries have joined together. This is not the first time this has happened. It's not going to be the last. This happens quite often.
Cesaro and Sheamus, they were feuding and then they became the Bar.
Right.
That's just one example.
It's just one of many. Yeah, exactly. I mean, look, at the end of the day, business is business. And it's not, I think that this, the misconception of life is that people always have to be enemies from start to finish. Like, you have to hate somebody. Like, you have to be an enemy to somebody. Like, you can't have a constructive conversation with somebody or do business with a person. Or, once a person do wrong, you got to hate them for life. No, that's not reality.
Some of the parts, my friend, when I hate you, I hate you. Ain't no turning back.
Yeah, it's like, it's a forever thing. I'm like, no, you know what happens when people do that? They get mentally tired. Okay. Exactly. So no, it doesn't work that way all the time. And they try to put in some form of reality to it. And reality is everybody's going to be an enemy for a long time, especially if you're working together for a long time. You eventually are going to mold together. I've worked with people that I didn't like at first, but then we started, as time went by, I got to understand the person a little bit more. And you end up being cool after a while because you start to get, who this person is.
Yep. Couple of takeaways. So number one, Punk took some tsunamis. He might be out for a little bit. Hopefully he shows the injury for a little bit. Number two, I like the idea that Braun Breaker didn't know that Bronson Reed was going to join them. I think that's a seed planted early on in this group.
Absolutely. But at the same time, I will say, like, they're doing the same thing with Solo and Jeff Cobb too.
That's the thing.
But what the only difference is, with the contrast of the two storylines, is Braun seems to be all with it. Braun didn't have an issue because they both shook hands and he smiled. He's like, okay, we're taking the tag team titles immediately.
Right? They better. I want to see them dominate. You know what? At this point, I don't know where they're going with the Judgment Day storyline, but I want to see Judgment Day versus Heyman Shield.
That'll be interesting. That'll be an interesting matchup too.
All right. Then we move on to the Women's U.S. Championship match. Zelina Vega, your champion, versus Chelsea Green. Very short match, just above 5 minutes. Zelina Vega beat Chelsea Green to retain. Yeah,
that match was a hit or miss.
Yep.
That was a hit or miss. There were some good spots, but then there was that 619 debacle situation. Did she break her nose or she got bloodied for that? I think she went for it and she didn't dial the 619 all the way, and she just decided to do a kick just for extra measure, and I think the kick hit her nose. That's what it seemed like from my perspective.
Yeah. It was iffy at times.
Yeah, Selena is a good athletic wrestler, but I think like Julia Hart, I think she's like one of those people that need to travel to get a little bit more skill in her, because like it's not a size thing. Because when you look at Roxanne Perez and Julia, like they can go. Those two can, and what's the other one? Alexa Bliss. I had to make sure my Echo device didn't pick that up. I just realized every time I say that it activates, so I had to put it on mute. But Alexa Bliss also is like extremely talented. All three of them. So it's not like a size thing. It's, just knowing your range and all that stuff and how to, really get it. So I don't think she's never been there. And I've always liked her as more of a manager type anyway from that point. But, we'll see where that goes.
Yep. This is where a disservice happens with the lack of house shows.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's not just on the WWE side. There's some AEW too that could benefit from that.
Yeah, like honestly, and I know that like it's kind of like also it's on you at this point, but having a live crowd, doing that, it is giving a disservice not having those house shows on a regular basis. But yeah, Zelina Vega wins. That was that. All right, then we got some. Let's see, we got Jimmy Hart, who looks the same way he did 40 years ago.
He's insane. I think he always wears a mask of himself. Like a younger mask of himself.
We got Bushwhacker Luke.
He actually looked pretty good for his age.
Did I tell you that my brother a couple years ago, I think I told you. He bought me a what do you call it? The thing with Bushwhacker Luke. What do you call those things? When you can,
wait,
no, when you can
what,
like
the
pay
tank
for their
tops?
service, like, and they send you a
Oh,
message.
oh God, I'm blanking out. Cameo.
Cameo. That's it. That's it.
He brought. What did he say to you on there?
Dude, it was like a 10-minute. Like he was rambling. I'll send it to
10
you.
minutes?
It's the funniest thing ever.
He just go on a conversation, like just a random
himself.
conversation. You know, just the other day I was.
Yeah. Oh, then that reminds me of this. It was.
Oh
it
God, he
me
just
of
gave you. He gave you a 10-minute shooter interview.
Yeah, basically. I gotta air it. At some point.
That's hilarious.
Berkey, and I can't thank Berkey enough. He actually got me one from my girl, Mackenzie Mitchell.
There you go. That was like 2 minutes.
Exactly.
You're welcome.
I needed a smoke after that.
You back there like worth it.
Yeah. Completely disheveled. We get.
Oh God.
It was announced that Chad Gable is going to be facing Elijo Del Vikingo at Worlds Collide.
I was so excited about that. That match is going to be insane. Like, if people haven't seen Vikingo yet, if you haven't watched AEW, if you hate on AEW, you should have been watching AEW at the time. Vikingo is awesome, and with Chad Gable, oh, what a debut this dude is going to make in a on a WWE platform.
So I have the opportunity. So now I have full access to WWE for their media passes. Blah 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 blah. I am highly debating going to LA, basically just for the Worlds Collide show and Money in the Bank.
I think you should.
Same thing.
Honestly, I think you
debating.
should.
I'm highly debating it. I'm gonna have to make a decision very soon. And even Chris Van Vliet's been asking me, right? Because
do what I would say. Do it. Yeah, I would say do it because of what I like. Because when I went to AEW Dynasty solely because it was the first pay-per-view. And just for that significance alone, it was the first pay-per-view on at Philly. Just for that significance alone, I had to be there. Like, I think you should do it just from a significance standpoint, because the fact that AAA is merging, or not merging, but working with the company now or whatever, or owning the company, whatever like that. That's a major deal. This is a monumental thing. I would do it.
Yeah, I should. It's home. It's home for me, right? I think my aunt lives like 5 minutes from the Intuit Arena. So, and that's the thing.
I would
going to see the Intuit Arena. Like that in itself, I feel part of the entry fee.
How many people does the Intuit Arena hold? You know?
I'm not sure. Let me take a quick look. Yeah. 18,000.
That's a I think it's going to fill it up.
Oh, this is the thing. TKO. You and I talk about this, and I know we're going on a swerve. I'm sorry, people. TKO. The one thing they prove capitalism works. People are still buying the tickets, right? People bitch and complain about WrestleMania Elimination Chamber. To get into the stadium was $200.
Yeah.
Right? And with dynamic pricing, it will change. But by the end of the day, these shows are still selling out.
People complain about everything. I mean, right? All right. It's partially rightfully so, but also it's inevitable. These prices are going to go up. We got these stupid trade wars right now that's causing these corruptions of prices. But at the end of the day, people have been buying expensive stuff for forever. Like all the people who complain about WWE prices, or the Nintendo Switch 2 prices and all this. So like, these are going to happen. It's inevitable. I mean, we're going to have to eventually assimilate into all this. Even before the trade war tariff situation, inflation is going to kick our asses eventually, sooner or later. So, this is how the world works, unfortunately.
Yep. But
and if you really didn't like it, don't support it.
That's the thing. As a consumer, you have the final say. But we're buying these tickets.
That's exactly right. Nobody's controlling anybody from this. Nobody's, really controlling anybody from doing it. We are the consumers. We have the right. You can take away and go for it. Like, I didn't watch the Double or Nothing pay-per-view. That was my choice.
Yeah.
Even though I wanted to see the Double or Nothing pay-per-view, but I wanted to put my stuff in elsewhere. So
Exactly.
It is what it is. You have choice.
WWE Champion John Cena versus R-Truth. Short but sweet. Perfect match.
I agree. I actually like everything about this match. I've been liking the promos, the serious promos that Truth has been doing, up until this point. I did not expect him to come out dressed just like John Cena and reenact all of the old tropes of John Cena. I thought that was pretty dope. And it did what it needed to do. Like, I knew there were certain people complaining, like, why is he having a match with R-Truth? First of all, they are legit friends. Like, I think this was more of a pay of respect to Truth in a lot of ways, and it was awesome. I thought it was great. It really transitioned the storyline of Cena being who he is and what he's doing and all this stuff. And I thought R-Truth did a great job. It was short, sweet, straight to the point.
The crowd loved it. It looked great.
Absolutely,
on TV. It came off great on TV.
And that's what it comes to. It's like people can complain. Those vocal minority of people can complain all they want. If by their logic and perspective, other people would have not cheered what they on in live, crowds and all the stuff. It would it's not that deep at the time. So yeah, I enjoyed it. I really enjoyed it. I thought Truth did a great job.
Yeah, he did. And then we after the match, Cena waited for Truth to stand up and then hit him with a belt shot yet again. And then he leaves the ring. That was that perfect, short and sweet. All right, we got AJ Uso stuff. He crossed paths with Cena. Jay said the last time he saw Cena, he threw him out of the Royal Rumble. Cena said he was happy that Jay remembered the last time they saw each other. Cena said he's looking forward to the next time he sees Jay. Cena spoke about the possibility of someone from a prestigious family losing his championship to a YouTuber. Cena said he would be watching closely. Perfect setup for what happens later this night.
Absolutely. Like, I mean, and that's another thing what made Saturday night's main event so enjoyable was that there was a lot of meaningful moments in there too that will help transition stories to the next destination, which is Summer Money in the Bank at this point. So I thought stuff like that really made the night worth watching.
Yeah. Thing about Saturday night's main event, just remember, Yorkie and I talked about this on Friday, and that's the fact that before on Superstars, Wrestling Challenge, whatever the fuck it was, you never really saw Hogan. You never really saw the major main eventers. It was Saturday night's main event where you actually saw them wrestle.
Yeah. No, agreed. And that's what made it so great. And again, it's not like, when you said it, whether it was teetering off and all the stuff, it would have teetered off if they didn't have main event, talent at this event. Mm-hmm. But they had a lot of main event talent at this event, and that's what made it matter. Whereas the AEW's, specials, it started teetering off because the lack of talent that they had. And then it was a night at, what is it, Champions of something? What was it called?
Battle of the Belts.
Battle of the Belts. How many championship titles matches did they really have in there?
Exactly. And it was all,
and how many title changes were there ever?
It was basically an ROH showcase by the end of it, right? Like, it wasn't really anything.
Don't give ROH's name out of it. Man, I mean, it was what it was, but like remember how Sunday Night Heat was? How hot that show was when it first came out? That's pretty much what it was. But right now, they're doing right for this show. So, I mean, I had no issue with it.
Yeah. All right. We saw Tatanka. Still looks the same. Also,
I ain't mad. Look, whatever he's doing, keep doing it.
And Lalani Kai. It was great to see her.
That was a blast from the past. I really was like, wow. Where did they find her? That's like hip hop finding Curtis Blow.
What's funny is, so I don't know how, but like, yeah, I'm not gonna. Yeah, it's weird, but yeah, she's very grateful and very thankful for being welcomed back into the WWE world, and seeing some of her post Saturday night's main event. She essentially said she wasn't sure how she was going to be received, but she's very.
There were some issues with her, right?
I think so. Kind of. It's 80s women's wrestling. I think there were issues with everyone unless you were Mae Young and the fabulous Moolah.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Oh, yeah.
Anywho, Drew McIntyre versus Damian Priest in a steel cage match, man. Both of these guys have been just kicking each other's asses over the past few months, and I think both guys are like fighting injured. I know it seems like Drew McIntyre is going to be taking some time off, but like we predicted on Friday's show, Damian Priest finally overthrows Drew McIntyre in this steel cage. But I will say, this did not hurt anyone. This was similar to Drew McIntyre and CM Punk at Bad Blood, where it didn't matter that Drew McIntyre lost the feud. He still looked really strong coming out of it.
Both of them did. They both were equally badasses in here. I will say Damian Priest's concerto was like, Edge should be like chef's kiss to that, because that was insanely awesome. I mean, I hate to say that as he smashes somebody over the head with a chair, but
Cole
like,
kind of did a shout out to Edge saying, how that's
he had to. He had to. I mean, like that was his deal. It was awesome. You say it didn't hurt anybody. I thought that match did hurt one person, and that was Jesse the Body Ventura. We got to talk about that. I'm like, all right, I'm one of those people too who don't like the over the top escaping the cage stipulation in here, but I felt like this was the one time that this made sense, because he beat this dude so much to a pulp. You don't need to pin him. He just walks off in disrespect. And that's when Jesse was wrong on so many levels. One, this was not the first cage match ever in Saturday Night's Main Event. I'm pretty sure of that. I'm pretty sure there was a couple of them involving Hulk Hogan and Bobby the Brain Heenan or something in there, getting thrown into the cage every so often, if I'm correct. Two, he beat the living crap. And look, Michael Cole and what's his name was tried their best to try to they tried their best to save that situation of him, but he just kept going over and drawing over and saying, what do you mean you could just walk out the door? I'm like, dude, he beat him to a pulp. What does he need to do that anymore? And you want him to climb up this damn mesh fence? Are you insane? Like, these are not the blue bars anymore either. It's like, no, like, there's no point. I was up with Jesse up until that point.
Yeah, he was out to lunch in this match.
He was old man Jesse at that point.
He really was.
Oh, you dagnabbit kids back in the day.
That's what it felt like. But
old gray hair, he ain't what he used to be.
Yeah. Yeah, let's see what happens. But yeah, it was just so weird. Then we saw Mike Rotunda and Barry Windham wearing U.S. Express.
I was happy to see Barry Windham.
Right?
I was so happy to see Barry Windham.
He gets the respect now.
I thought, well, you know what? Those who knew him from the 80s, we knew he was that dude. Like today is Takeshita, who I believe is like the modern day Barry Windham, in my opinion, just a little bit better. But whenever I see somebody do a lariat, it just reminds me of Barry Windham. But Barry has just been that dude forever. And yeah, I'm glad he's gotten Hall of Fame rings. He got two of them, right? Because did he get one with Rotunda?
Yeah, he did.
And he got one with the Horseman.
Yep.
Okay. So yeah, Barry, people, if y'all never watched a Barry Windham match, this is what the WWE archives and on Peacock is for. Y'all need to go watch Barry Windham, especially when he wrestles with Flair and all that stuff, man. He's just awesome. Yeah, he deserves every bit of flowers.
Yep. Jey Uso versus Logan Paul.
Real quick, I will say this. Back when I used to go to the NWA matches, there was this one night when we went and the Horsemen with Barry at the time, they were signing out. They did an autograph session. And I had those autographs of Barry Windham, Tully Blanchard, Arn Anderson, and Ric Flair. And I have no idea where the hell they are to this day. They are lost. I know one of my friends, shout out to Pat, who just got his new kidney, by the way. Shout out to him. He still has those damn pictures with the autograph signed by every one of those horsemen of that era. So
that is
like
awesome.
it is. They're like black and white. I remember them vividly. They're black and white little pictures like that they were giving away, and they just signed them. I was like, man, if you only knew how much those things probably cost right now.
Right? The original Horseman like that? That's crazy.
Yes.
All right, World Heavyweight Championship match. Jey Uso versus Logan Paul. What do you think?
I thought it was awesome. I thought it was great. Like Jey Uso is getting much better in the ring doing singles matches and all this stuff. I remember like when I started watching wrestling again and watched him on WrestleMania last year. Wasn't the best WrestleMania match. This year's WrestleMania match was much better. I think he's getting better and better every time he's in the ring. And Logan, he's just a freak of nature, man. I just really enjoyed, him in here. And I as much as I wasn't a big fan of him as a YouTuber, I got to give him credit where credit is due. He's kind of like this generation's Rob Van Dam.
That's wow.
Where you kind of hate, people forget. People love Rob Van Dam when he got in WWE, but when he was in ECW, he was a heel. But he was a heel because what made him a heel was because he was that damn good and he backed it up. Whereas back in the day, when you were a heel, you never really backed it up when you said you could do stuff. He was backing it up and people were hating him for it at the time. But as he gradually kept going, when he had the television title, people started respecting him. So, this is one of those kind of...
By like 98, late 98, 99, he was basically a face, but he would never officially turn face, kind of.
Exactly. I mean, he kept doing the same stuff too. So this is kind of what Jake Paul kind of reminds me of that iteration of Rob Van Dam, but he's a freak of nature, and that move, that finisher of his is insane.
It really is. It really fucking is. John Cena shows up, pulls the ref out of the ring, enters the ring, punches Jay beats Jey Uso up with punches and kicks. Cody Rhodes comes back. His first appearance since WrestleMania. He drops Cena with Crossroads. Paul returned with some brass knuckles. He tried to hit Cody. He ducks the punch. Jay then spears him, hits him with an Uso splash. Referee comes back miraculously at that very moment to count to 3 for Jey Uso to defeat Logan Paul. After the match, Cody took the mic and said that Cena had ruined enough. And that is when the match was made official. It's going to be Jey Uso and Cody Rhodes versus Logan Paul and John Cena.
I think here's a few points of geniuses right here. One, I'm so glad that Cody took time off to allow Cena to breathe a bit as a heel, because whether you think that it was working or not, it kind of made, is making Cody a much more missed person now. So now everything should be all good with him coming back. 2, I think if Cena and Jake Paul continue to team with each other, that might help elevate Cena's heel, persona right now, because you're going to be hanging with a dude who's legitimately hated. And you're going to have to get the rub off Cena to get that hate from people who are still cheering from. I think that might help him more than anything. So
throwing some Travis Scott in there, and you're going to get super boost for John Cena, right?
Just play that song through the whole entire match,
like a New Jack match.
But it's just all it is.
It's just
feed. For like 15 minutes, you're going to see the decimal meter go up to like 200.
Yep. Oh my God. That would be amazing. So that was Saturday night's main event overall. Enjoyable show. And it really did set up Money in the Bank, I think, to a certain extent. Good show.
Yeah.
Main eventers are there. That's all you can ask for. It's about the exposure on NBC. People have to remember that.
Absolutely.
That's what Saturday night's main event is about. You're not going to get 35 million people watching anymore. It's a different time, but it's doing what it's supposed to do.
Absolutely. Agreed. I'm just enjoying wrestling right now. Period.
That's all you can do, my friend. That's all people should be doing. Let us jump to some NXT Battleground last night. Dax, what did you think overall of this show?
I think for the first time, me personally, again, people, this is me personally, my personal opinion. I think for the first time, I felt like we're getting closer to the NXT of old. And when I say that, basically, I'm talking about like when the way NXT used to be, the way that that Hunter used to book it back in the day when they had all of the hottest indie stars and all the stuff, and the way the crowd reacts to that. I saw a little bit of that tonight, depending on which match that you were watching, and because now this is not that NXT. That NXT back then had a group of elite, no pun intended, people wrestling in that were already, that did not need any training. They were already there. They were traveling around the world. They already, they were upper echelon, folks. This is the one where they're really, people from the ground up, from their performance center. Yep. And we're starting to see growth in here. And I saw like a lot of growth. I will say this. I felt like the women kind of outdid the men in some cases tonight. And so depending on what matches they were.
Often this first match was incredible, and that's for the NXT Women's North American Championship match. Your champion Sol Ruca versus Kelani Jordan. If you've never seen Kelani Jordan, her one thing is she's kind of bland. I kind of hope they turn her heel a little bit. Give her a fresh coat of paint. Wrestling wise, she's awesome. But Sol Ruca, man, she always does things so innovative in a match. Things that you've never seen in wrestling before, and her soul catcher finisher.
That's an amazing move.
Right? Soul snatcher, I should say.
I think DDP should be proud, because remember, DDP, when he was doing the Ace Crusher, I guess, Diamond Cutter, if you will, what Johnny Ace didn't do when he did that move was do it in different variations. So Ruka's doing that same thing with this move, and it's like that's not an easy move to pull. Like, you can say she a rookie and all this stuff, but this rookie is pulling off a move that nobody's ever done before, and I don't think not many people can do. Like, you need a certain amount of confidence to be able to help pull that off. And kudos to them. They both did really great. I've seen them wrestle before, but I feel like this time around they were much more developed than they were the previous times. The first opening sequence of things was like really solid, and it just got better from there. So I really enjoyed this match.
The end was crazy. Essentially, Jordan catches a distracted Sol Ruca with a baseball slide. Kelani Jordan blocks a Soul Snatcher, drags Sol to the top rope. Sol punches Kelani away, and then did Mustafa Ali's 450 into a Soul Snatcher for the win.
Insane. What do you think is going to happen with her and her partner at this point?
Zaria,
she got kicked out.
I think Zaria at some point is going to turn on her. I think that's the natural thing that's going to happen. I
do see that, but also, like, I'm saying, like, are we seeing a love angle with these two, or a jealousy angle? Like,
I don't know.
What do they want us to see in this? That's what I'm trying to figure out.
Right? Just two best friends hanging out.
They were. All right, we'll go with that.
Yeah, exactly. Sarah Schreiber interviews TNA superstar Mike Santana.
Yo, my eyes lit up when I saw that. I was like, "What?" I was like DJ Khaled. I'm like, another one. God, how many more AEW folks is there going to get, man? It's like, it's crazy,
right? It's crazy.
He looked great. He looked absolutely fantastic. I always like Santana. I'm looking forward to seeing. I heard he's doing really good things in TNA, so I'm looking forward to see
from the last pay-per-view with Mustafa Ali.
Wow, that dope,
dude. Watch it. Rebellion. Mike Santana versus Mustafa Ali.
He's ready to get that. He's ready to get that push, huh?
Yeah, big time. And they're really pushing him in TNA right now. He's essentially said that he's coming after whoever were to win between Trick and Joe Hendry. Like, that was essentially his thing.
Awesome. Go for it. He's always been a guy to me, even when he was in AEW, like, he really was working his butt off to be shown, to be proven. He just never got that opportunity. He just, for whatever reason, they just kept holding him and Ortiz back in a lot of ways. I hate the way that went out, but, like, I'm glad that he's still in it. I'm glad that he's still going. He's still pushing, because he's an awesome dude. Yeah.
Yeah. It was weird because Santana's around. He's a TNA wrestler, and that they're working
originally.
Yeah. And he's like TNA is working with WWE, but I never like my brain glitched when I saw him on my screen.
Same here. It's like this generation of WWE is just insane,
right? When you get Elio Del Vecchino, Mike Santana, Joe, like it's just where are we? Dolph Ziggler is going to like the Nemeths. They're both going to be at Worlds Collide.
That's crazy. That is crazy right there.
We saw Elijah back a few weeks ago.
Man, what is going on with this world right now? Like, I come back and like, you ever see the meme? You ever see the meme from what is it? Community, where Donald Glover comes in the room.
Burning. Yep,
that's what I feel like is going on in wrestler.
Yeah. Same here. All right. Santana shows up. No corner catch crew there. They are there. Charlie Dempsey kind of gives him shit. Tavian Heights rips into him. And essentially, we set up a match for this Tuesday's NXT. Santana versus Tavian Heights.
I'm all for it. It'll get him good exposure. And that storyline is, I think they're about to disband this group. That's what it just comes off like.
Yep.
Now, I wonder if that means William Regal's going to make some type of appearance within that when that all said and done.
Hopefully.
Get him back in with his son.
Josh Briggs, Hank Walker, and Tank Ledger versus the Cullings, Sean Spears, Brooks Jensen, and Nico Vance. The faces of Tank Ledger, Hank Walker, and Josh Briggs end up winning. This match was okay for what it was. It was one of those mid-card fun matches. It reminds me of like the NWA days of like the Boogie Woogie Man and versus the Paul Jones and his army type of thing. You always had that type of match, and it was fun. It was solid. There was nothing wrong with it. Didn't take you up higher. Didn't take you lower. It was just there. It was and it got through. But there was a really good fun surprise in there too. So, yep, heels kind of come back after the match, do some beatings. And we get Inamura coming back to save the day.
So did he ever leave Japan? Because
did he go back?
Yeah, right. Now that you think about it, did anybody see him in Pro Wrestling Noah?
Right?
Did he ever do one match there?
We get a interview with Ethan Page. Page talks about Ricky Saints thinking he's the coolest guy in NXT, but that's all external and not real. Page said on the inside, Saints is one of the most insecure human beings he's ever met. Page talked about Saints following in his footsteps ever since joining NXT. Ava shows up. Ava said Saints versus Page will open NXT, and the winner will defend the title at Worlds Collide.
That GM she's entertaining as hell.
You can be.
She is from a Chrissy from Three's Company type of way. From a Rose from Golden Girls St. Olaf type of way. Like, it's like she just some of the decisions that she makes here makes no sense, but it's like, all right, she's GM, go with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
But yeah, I'm looking forward to that match. All right.
Tony D'Angelo. It's or what I like to call it's the AEW Dark Cup. Tony D'Angelo versus Channing Stacks Lorenzo. This was, again, a okay match. I think this is really Stacks needed this win, but I just don't know where they're going to go with Tony D at this point.
That is an interesting question. Do you think he's ready to go to the main card?
I don't think he can go alone. I think he really needs his group with him.
Right. But, I mean, with that said, I did like the way they repackaged Stacks. I love his new theme music was like, kind of took me off for a bit. I was like, yo, this is kind of dope for like a Italian gangster type of vibe. Okay. But it worked. I liked the fact his whole...
They didn't turn him into like, the Wunderkind with that music. Remember that music that Alex Wright used to have?
God, no.
Like some Euro dance beats.
Oh God, yeah, I don't want to remember that. But, no, I thought it was pretty good. I liked the match. I liked the way that it carried the story around and everything. So I didn't, if you recall, when I first got a glimpse of the entire group, I was like, no, not this stereotypical type of stuff, man. But as I continue to watch these guys, like, they are really committed to this gimmick.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
They're so committed to the point that I'm almost convinced like that's who they are. So yeah, I've grown fond of all of these characters after a while, and I'm into the story. It just taking it as it is,
It's just drama for the sake of being drama, and in my pro wrestling, I'm all for it. So let's see what happens next with this group.
Agreed.
Alrighty, Stephanie Vaquer versus Jordan Grace for the NXT Women's Championship. Match of the night for me.
Match of the night.
Match of the night.
Enough, like, they look. Every wrestler, needed to watch that match. Those two. I would say definitely both of their. I feel like both of their best matches so far that I've seen. They just, man, did they go?
Yeah, it was great. This match was excellent. This match was good. It had story. It had action. It had suspense. It had back and forth. You didn't need 20,000 finishers to tell your story. Oh. And Stephanie Vaquer conquers Jordan Grace at the end of the match. Oh, it's so good. After
when I looked at that, I was like, these are professionals. That's my takeaway. These were absolutely consummate professionals right here. Like, it doesn't matter what gender you are. These are professionals. This is what you look at. This is study.
For a long time during Jordan Grace's TNA run, especially near the end, she would constantly have match of the nights with whomever she fought.
Yeah.
Whether it be Tessa Blanchard, say what you say about her, whether it be Masha Slamovich, whether it be freaking Mickie James, whomever. Jordan Grace has been tearing it up. This match was no different.
I've been a fan of her for the longest time. Like, she's been just her road, her progress, her evolution, all of that. Like, again,
good word used.
Consummate. Say it again.
Good word used. Evolution.
Yeah. Just consummate professional all the way through. She's an inspiration, no matter who you are. I mean, it's just amazing,
man. Evolution 2 or whatever Evolution, this next all women's pay-per-view. Honestly, could be pay-per-view of the year. Like,
think possibly they booked the right people. They booked the right people. It should be. Don't get Selena Vega in there. It'll be fine.
Right. We love her.
I love me some Selena Vega, but like, I don't know. I think you're right. I think it does have the means to really. I'm actually looking forward to that. That's going to be all eyes are going to be on that.
Yeah, it's going to be great. It's going to be great. And now that you have the opportunity to bring in the women from AAA, with the Reina de Reinas belt, and then you get to people from TNA. My God, that show is going to be crazy.
That's going to be Forbidden Door for WWE.
Yeah. Say what you want about Worlds Collide, but Evolution is the one I'm looking forward to the most.
Agreed.
And notice the marketing behind Worlds Collide. It was NXT AAA. Now it's just being promoted as WWE AAA.
Yeah, they rebranded it just around the time they were about to rebrand WrestleMania.
Yeah.
they just going crazy over there.
It just goes to show you how sudden some of these decisions have been.
Yeah.
All right, we get Ricky Saints when Sarah Schreiber out in the ring. He's out. Sarah talks about Ava putting that match together against against Ethan Page. Saints said Page likes to believe he's a genius mastermind, but he's more like that guy at the party who you don't know why he's there. Saints said that he's Page's new obsession, and he wanted to move on, but Paige didn't. Zayn said he didn't put the title on the line because he was rattled, but because he knew Paige wouldn't duck away at a challenge. Zayn said if he gets a chance to whoop Paige's ass on Tuesday, he can't wait for it. Sarah talked about the winner of that match having to defend at Worlds Collide. Saints took the mic and said he's an ambassador and that the Revolution will be televised. Saints was hyping up Worlds Collide, but was attacked by Ethan Page.
You know, it's funny when you said that, when he said that, actually, the part where he's a guy that goes to the party and nobody ever asked him, right? It reminded me of that Seinfeld episode when he went to the dentist party and Bryan Cranston was like, is that Seinfeld sitting over there? It kind of reminded me of that because he wasn't invited at all. Everybody, he's just asking him, like, why is he there? Nobody wanted him to be a plus one. This always relates back to Seinfeld.
That's I love that.
Woody Woodpecker up.
Obafemi versus Miles Bourne for the NXT Championship. Man, Obafemi. I'm convinced that Obafemi will not lose the NXT Championship before he goes to the main roster, and he's just gonna drop the title on his own demeanor.
Didn't they do that for Asuka too?
Yeah.
Or did she actually? Or did she? No, she lost the title. She lost the title to Amber Moon.
Did she?
Yeah. I think she lost it to Amber Moon before she headed up.
No, I thought she headed up because I thought her first loss in WWE was against Charlotte at WrestleMania.
You're right. I think she did. I think she was undefeated, but I think the title was given to Amber Moon, or I forgot how that went.
Happened. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I wouldn't mind. Look, I wouldn't mind him being like Juggernaut going out of there, like just ransacking through everybody. Really, but we got my new boy. We'll see. I don't think he's gonna beat him. But, well, if he does, it'll be a total surprise.
Yeah.
You know, for those who didn't watch LFG. But we'll see how that goes. But as far as this match, it was solid.
Yeah, I thought it was great. It was a great showing. Here's the thing. It was a foregone conclusion that Obafemi was going to win. But the fact that we were able to think, even for a second, that Miles Bourne could win, they did a good job.
Absolutely. I agree. I thought Miles, you know, despite the fact that he really does look like Randy Orton in so many ways, which is insane. And even his move patterns are kind of the same. Like I've seen him try to do the rapid power bomb at some point, which was crazy. But other than that, like the dude got it. He has something, and I'm looking forward to it. I just need him to look repackaged before he goes up to the main roster. Look,
I don't care. Say what he's a good wrestler now, but he's done something that every man wants to do, and that is he's now dating Stephanie Vaquer. So kudos to him.
Oh, damn. I was not aware of that. You know what's funny? Let's get into that real quick. Like every one of the chicks that are like the people that they're dating, people are hating online, but I think people are also projecting.
Oh, 100%.
Because I honestly, I'm looking at that. They're looking at that as like, oh, he look like he could. I'm like, dude, he looks like you. So basically, you're talking about yourself, but you should be saying, oh my God, if he got her, then that means I can get her. And like, I think who was the recent Lyra Valkyria. Her boyfriend was shown in there. A lot of people, I didn't know that he was a wrestler either because he just didn't look. I heard he was. But just aesthetically, he just doesn't look like, you look at him and it's like, you would thought that she would have had somebody, and she probably could if she wanted to. So Roxanne. So was everybody that we're mentioning. But it's like, there's a message that people missing out there who are trying to, joke and crap on them, knowing that they don't have anybody like them. And I'm like, this should be more of an inspiration. That's why y'all not thinking right.
Speaking of Stephanie Vaquer, they show her arguing with the AAA women from earlier. JC Jane shows up, slaps Vaquer in the face, and we get the separation.
That was interesting. Like, answer this for, because I think I wanted you to answer this for me before, but the what is that group? What is the group again? The group that the three girls the one that just slapped Vaqueria. in the back,
I
in the
forget what
backstage.
they're called.
Yeah, because you know what I always say about them. But did one of them was the third one? Did she get her walking papers?
No,
Or is she injured?
she's injured.
Okay, I was one fatal influence. That's what it was. See how bad it is. But it's like I was like, wait, she hasn't been around in a while, and they're still doing the storyline and all this stuff with them kind of, disbanding or whatever like that. Where's she at? I thought they I didn't know if they released her or not.
No.
Okay. So when this is all over, she's just gonna come back and like, where the hell is everybody?
Pretty much. On the next episode of NXT, we got Ricky Saints versus Ethan Page, Jasper Troy's in-ring debut, Tatum Paxley versus Jada Parker, and Mike Santana versus Tavian Heights.
Have you been following LFG?
No, not as I'm a little behind.
You and everybody else, don't worry. But yeah. I actually, for some odd reason, have been watching that show. It is, for those who watch Tough Enough, it is very tough enough, but there's a different angle to it now this time. It gets really tough enough-ish by the end, but in the beginning, it's like, even the trainers are, fighting to, win a title belt or whatever like that. Whoever coached the best and all that. Jasper Troy, he's going to be a likable dude. There's a reason why he won. And I also like the fact that like a brother and sister won the first LFG anyway. So I'm very appreciate that. But, he has something. He actually has something. I think he's gonna be good in the next few years. If they tailor him right, if they go on the right road, he can definitely he might make an impact. He kind of reminds me of like 911.
Yeah.
He has that 911. For those who don't know that, go back and watch ECW. You'll understand. He has that 911 Brian Lee-ish type of vibe to him. He's pretty cool, and his backstory is legit. I love his backstory too. Because he had a kid who almost didn't make it. And this dude he has no money. He was just fighting to make sure that he gets seen. His story on LFG was just, it's worth actually checking out.
Cool. I will keep an eye on that one. Time for the main event. TNA. What? This is such a weird word. NXT's main event was for the TNA World Championship. Trick Williams versus Joe Hendry with AJ Styles, of all people, narrating the hype video, which was perfect. If we don't see AJ Styles at Slammiversary or Bound for Glory, I'm going to be pissed.
That would be a great full circle moment for him. Considering how he left it, him and Okada have a lot in common in that, that company.
Yeah,
they both had they both end up with crappy gimmicks. They both were like upper echelon, and they both just did not get the best of that company at all.
Especially from there, the end for poor AJ, like he was a good soldier up until the very end, and he
remember when they tried to make him the next Flair.
Yeah,
they did a lot of things. Hair.
They did a lot of things with him.
Yeah.
Well, I eat my words because I thought there was no way in hell that Joe Hendry would lose, but Trick Williams is your new TNA World Champion.
I literally told you I watched this. I went to sleep yesterday and watched it this morning, and I'm sitting there thinking the same thing you are, and I immediately hit the Leonardo DiCaprio moment when he's looking at the TV in Wolf of Wall Street, like,
yeah,
you're like, oh my God, he won. And my dog looked at me sitting next to me like, I'm like, he freaking won. Oh my God. Now, well, with that said, I love the match was great. The match was above average. My only issue is that damn trick shot finish, because I'm not a fan of the trick shot. I need him to have a different move, solely because you got a guy named Kenny Omega who, when he uses a knee strike, looks extremely devastating, and it sounds even more devastating when he does that trick shot. It's like he's just pushing people into the closet.
Yeah,
with that knee, like it doesn't look. It's only a rare time that it ever looks effective. It's a hit or miss move, but he can't land it the way Kenny lands it, like insanely. There's an art to that.
So then, he should take Booker T's. What's it called? Not the bookend.
The bookend.
Yeah.
I found fun. Can we also note that all of can we stop just calling it a battleground and call it Booker T Appreciation Night? Because the crowd was so cheering for Booker on so many levels. I do like the one or two spots where Booker when Trick was looking at Booker and Booker's like, yeah, man, do it. And he did the spin of Rudy and he ended up getting booked, and Booker's reaction to it was so awesome. I love that sequence. It was fantastic. Like Booker, I'm hit or miss with Booker at times. This was a night I actually appreciated Booker.
Mm-hmm. All right. NXT wrestler Trick Williams is now your TNA champion. This happened on a NXT WWE show. Does this hurt TNA in any shape, way, or form?
The crowd reaction tells you no. The crowd reaction absolutely tells you no. This only gives more exposure to TNA in so many ways, and you know it's not going to last. I think the other misconception to people is that when they see moments like this, they act like this moment is going to last forever, or this is going to end or the whole thing. We're not seeing the whole story of it. No, this is just another chapter of a story being told. Like, let's watch it through. We're seeing what's going to happen. We're seeing seeds being planted within the whole night that may lead into what's going to happen later on down the line.
Yeah.
So no, this is the same question. This is the same question that we had with WrestleMania. Did Joe Henry get hurt facing Randy Orton? No. No, he got the biggest reaction in over 60 something thousand fans singing his damn song. He also got a specially made WrestleMania t-shirt that they sold for him. He made out like he made bank that night. Okay. And he got it. Like nobody in TNA can ever say that they ever made it on a WrestleMania platform of that magnitude. And he didn't get squashed. He didn't get squashed in there either. No, this doesn't hurt TNA. I think WWE has done better for TNA than AEW has done for TNA, to be honest.
There you go. I agree with you. But we needed to get that out. Because obviously that's been the talk of the night.
It's in the zeitgeist. I get it. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So there you go. Mike Santana's going to be facing Trick Williams eventually, I'm sure. Man, it's crazy. But you know what? When they showed Santana, and knowing if you watch TNA that he is going for the title, and then remembering that a few weeks ago, Santana and Trick had a crossing in the hallway on TNA TV, you kind of knew what was going to happen. But it didn't click until it actually happened that it would happen. And that's Trick winning the championship on NXT TV.
I think sooner or later, TNA is going to have to do a documentary, or somebody's going to have to do a documentary on TNA. It's like the resiliency of this company is insane. Like Ring of Honor to that extent too, but it's just amazing how TNA stayed relevant and around this long. At this point, it's like you got to give them flowers for doing what they've been able to do for this long. Whether you hated it or liked it throughout the years, fans have kept that company alive way beyond its time. And then for them to be with WWE and get that much acknowledgement and rub and all the stuff, and it's just been insane. You know, you gotta give them credit.
Yep. That was NXT Battleground, my friend. Thank you so much for joining me. Before we go, though, you have to let people know where they can find all of your work.
Well, I do a podcast called ACMG Presents Talk Time Live, where we cover all things anime, comics, movies, and games. And we have great reviews of movies. Like next week, I'm going to do the Karate Kid Legends movie. I can't wait to see that.
Wait for that.
Cannot wait for that. So going to be doing that. We're going to be doing Superman with Boris, of course, in the coming weeks. But we also have interviews with some of your favorite people involved in your favorite fandoms, whether it's actors from anime, game developers, music producers, whatever. Like, you never know who's going to stop by this show. And you can check all of that out on our official website at talktimelive.com, where you can find all of our archive episodes and video exclusives and more there. You can follow us wherever podcasts are played as well.
Yeah. Thank you so much for that again. Thank you so much for everyone listening. You can be part of the conversation by joining the Facebook group. Best place to do that is to go to facebook.com and searching for A+ Wrestling. On Friday, I talked about Scott Ainsworth's mother, Helen. The entire A+ family again is out thinking of you, Scott, because he did let me know that Helen did pass earlier today. It's a sad thing, but it's a relief, as he says, because she is fully at peace. Scott, we got you in our, we got you, and I'm glad that you you're feeling okay, all things considered. But Helen, it sucks, but that's that.
With you.
Dax will be coming back at some point. Thanks again for joining me. Everyone, you can go to aplusproductions.com, find and read the show, whether it be A+ Productions or A+ Wrestling, to hit that subscribe and leave a review. That'll help us out. I know I've been saying this for weeks upon weeks, but A+ Wrestling will be able to be heard in different ways very, very, very soon. Just gotta wait for dots to dot, I's to dot, crosses to cross. You know what I mean? Fuck, I'm tired. I'm over.
Hey, if you could wait for WWE to go on Netflix and AEW to go on Max or HBO Max now, you can wait for this.
Exactly. I gotta when we stop recording, I gotta show you my new tattoo. Thank you, Vegas, baby.
This boy, let's go.
On behalf of the entire A+ crew, thank you so much for listening, but most importantly, stay tranquilo.